So yes, the market looks like it's collapsing. Bitcoin's obviously down, which has led to altcoins going down even further. And I feel that sentiment is somewhat at lows, rock bottom lows. But before you panic, I want to kind of showcase some stuff that probably make you think twice about getting a little bit sweaty about your positions. But if you're new around here and you want some calm, please do leave a like and more importantly, subscribe to the channel because it might help you. So sentiment check. This is the situation where we find ourselves in. We are in Bitcoin's 4th year cycle sort of narrative still. And yes, you can look at the orange and it hasn't really moved yet. And every single time at that time point of, say, Q4 of October of the last year, the end of, we tend to do something, as you can imagine. Now, yes, you could argue the 2021 one wasn't very big, but ultimately we haven't really had that pump, that squirt to the upside. So that's one big tick that we need to look at. We are still somewhat in that time frame window for something to happen. But all I am seeing is sentiment in the gutter. All I am seeing is liquidations, fear level, drama all over crypto Twitter with, Ben Cohen fighting with people because he was right and they were wrong. It's like, oh God. It's getting pretty toxic realistically, but that's kind of how market emotions work, right? And a cryptocurrency update isn't without a fear and greed update. We are at 28. People are somewhat fearful, and it seems to be the exact reason why majority of the panic is here and only the few stay calm. This market cycle is different, and I've talked about what I feel in previous videos about why this cycle is different and why people are different. But I think there is a genuine belief that people are holding on to too much wealth these days and don't know how to handle it, and they are eating their bags very quickly, creating a bit of drama. Or you got the other side of the coin where people are using too much leverage because they want to make much money, so much money, in such a short period of time because they want to get out the market. And you could argue one of each realistically. Seasonality. September, October are historically volatile anyways, regardless of what way you look at it. Never mind one way or the other, it's always a bit wishy-washy. August and September offer the lowest average returns. That is just the reality. Altcoins will always offer something different because Bitcoin does something, right? Especially if liquidity is low, and I feel that liquidity is obviously going to be low in this time period. Every major run we have in the cryptocurrency market equals a shakeout first. That is just the reality of it, right? Because liquidity has to be drawn from somewhere, and we probably are going to go lower before we go higher into the more obvious, better looking months, which is obviously October and November. So even though we're in this seasonality element and this kind of data-driven world where what could happen next, well, ultimately, both sides of the coin, whether it's Ethereum or whether it is Q4 of Bitcoin, looks a lot stronger than Q3. Regardless of what your opinion is, that is the thing. August and September are usually pretty bad. Now, the caveat to all this, obviously one thing and one thing only. The S&P, the Nasdaq were at all-time highs. Gold is flying. Yes, there could be sentiment issues around rate cuts and what the hawkish approaches towards Jerome Powell over the next couple of weeks. But ultimately, if Bitcoin does its own thing, if Bitcoin goes low enough, we will probably find people get interested. Now, I'm going to start with Ethereum just to showcase something, right? I was looking at that level anyways. We pretty much rejected the all-time high. That's kind of the top and bottom of it, obviously. But I was looking at levels in and around here. I'm not buying it, by the way. I'm just like analyzing it. But obviously, you could look at two situations. If I remove this Fibonacci here, right? So if we're going to go from said low, right, which is obviously here, and then pull back, we could be looking at the EMA 21 and this level here, 3,500-ish. We could also go down even lower. If we go down to those lows, I may be interested. Not financial advice, of course, but I may be interested for a little bit of a kind of push to the upside, potentially, who knows. But I don't really want to go that low, personal opinion. But let's look at Bitcoin, because $109,000 now, we are at the 618 levels somewhat from this pump here, from this swing, okay? However, there's a lot of Fibonacci on here. It is a bit confusing and confuzzling. But this correction here, 32%, we haven't had one of them for a long, long time. If you looked at my previous videos, you'll know, if we look from the all-time high to a 30-odd% correction, we are looking in around the $87,000, $86,000 mark. My God! So I wouldn't panic too much about it, but ultimately, if it happens, it happens, and you all probably should be expecting it, and it could give you a really good opportunity. Are you panicking yet? Let me know in the comments if you are. But other things as well to mention. Now, shout out to Bencoin because he's nailed majority of this cycle, talking about, well, dominance is going to go up. And if you watch my videos, I said the same thing because we are in a downtrend. We are going to pull back up. That's just the reality of it, right? Because there's always that to and fro with Ethereum pushing and Bitcoin regressing and it going the other way around, right? Obvious. Because Ethereum's the largest percentage, obviously. So when we talk about the, let's talk about swings. Let's just go to the 3-day time frame. We'll look at this lovely area and we'll go correction or wave. Boom, boom, boom. 60.5%? Probably. It's not hard to look at where things could go. Now, why is this going to be a potential area to look at? Now, you can't really trade off that, but it's more of an observation. What you're going to see, and as you can imagine, is this. That's going to drop because that has gone from 7% up to 15% in a matter of, 4 months? Pretty quick, right? It's going to pull back, and that's going to allow Bitcoin dominance to breathe unless something takes the mantle, which it hasn't. We haven't got past that fucking mental stage of Solana going well or Cardano or whatever it may be. And by the way, if you want to pause the screen, that is your altcoin checklist. If you want to go bananas, just saying. Anyways, moving on. Stable currency dominance has also done something a little bit different. We're going up. So if this goes up, obviously a little bit of risk off going on. So all the analysis is showcased in what we're kind of expecting. We've had a very, very, very big push to the upside, and guess what's happening? We're pulling back. It's a correctional wave. Stop panicking. By the way, if you want to join my Patreon, there's a link below. It's cheap as chips. There's lots of going on. There's videos nearly every day. There's also live streams as well. But yeah, as you can imagine, pretty good. And there's a Discord. Now let's talk about altcoins, because bleeding out when the market's doing that and low liquidity is probably quite normal, realistically, right? Nothing has broken to a point where, I need to look into that. And even on the Total 3/BTC chat, we are still down in the gutter somewhat, right? We're still in and around where this buy zone is, realistically, where the low lows are. Yes, we're pulled up. Yeah, we're correcting. But as I said before in other videos and even on my Patreon, I don't think anyone's missed the boat with an altcoin yet. Obviously, there's a couple that have popped off and people get a little bit of FOMO, but nothing's really gone, oh my God, that's gone berserk. So just be mindful of that. Reality check, though, right? Let's talk about it. If you're investing, in my viewpoint, based off the analysis, based off the dominance chart and where they are, these dips are somewhat opportunities. If you are trading, stick to rules. Don't let emotions force you into bad decisions. Don't let YouTube, for example, or X, or Reddit, or whoever has texted you on WhatsApp recently, fuel or cloud your judgment, so to speak, right? My own opinion is we're okay. I'm not that worried, personally, right? The market will always look worse at bottoms and better at the tops. Justification comes from green candles, and I don't know what the other way around of it with the redness is, but ultimately you will more likely to sell on a red day, right? So with this, as much as we see these thumbnails and really, really big colourful things and stuff happening, ooh, me, ooh, look, me. I don't get many views, do I, considering, but I think I scare people too much. But the idea is that is still, in my viewpoint, a reality. The start of the next Q4 big rally. And it often comes with a shakeout, obviously. Well, I've been here before and I know what's happening. So in terms of your own reality and your own situation, please just try not to panic, because if you're panicking now, there's no hope for you. But I know everyone's in a different position, aren't they? When you think about it in terms of wealth, did you start last week? Maybe. If you started a couple of months ago, it might be a bit rough. But if you started 2-3 years ago, you should not be panicking. But to finish on the obvious psychology here, the market will always test patience. The setups that follow are often the most rewarding due to struggles. Look at how high Bitcoin has gone. Look at how high Ethereum's gone recently, even Solana. If it was so easy, everyone would be profitable. Everyone would do it. There's a lot of people that get flushed out of this market very, very quickly off one little sharp correction. The thing is, right, this market cycle has been hard but easy, if that makes sense. The corrections haven't been that deep. The corrections haven't been that bad. We haven't had that many altcoin pumps to make us feel hurt with a correction, right? I think because people are edging towards that Q4 situation, oh, it's all going to go amazing. But what if it doesn't? Have you got a backup plan? Well, you probably should, realistically. Anyways, watch this video, subscribe, like if you've not yet done so, and have a good weekend.